The Tale of the Mirror Valley, What We Do to Others. In the faraway land of Aelor, nestled between towering mountains, lay the mysterious Mirror Valley. The valley was unlike any other place in the world. It was said that whatever you did within its borders, good or bad, would be returned to you, sometimes in ways you least expected. For generations, the people of Aelor told tales of travelers who had ventured into the valley only to experience their own actions reflected back at them. Some returned with tales of fortune, having shown kindness and receiving kindness in return. Others spoke of misfortune and strange events, warning that the valley did not forget any deed, no matter how small. Despite the warnings, two young men, Darian and Hal, set out on an adventure. Darian was bold, known for his mischievous pranks and clever tricks, while Hal was cautious and thoughtful. They had grown up hearing stories of the Mirror Valley, and now, with a spirit of adventure, they wanted to test the legend themselves. As they entered the valley, the air grew still, and an eerie silence settled around them. The landscape was beautiful, with shimmering streams and towering trees that seemed to reflect the light in strange ways. The valley felt alive, as if it were watching them. At first, Darian treated the place like any other. He kicked at rocks, shouted into the wind, and seeing a small family of animals, a doe and her fawn, he threw a stone at them, laughing as they darted away in fear. Hal, watching from a distance, frowned. "You shouldn't do that," Hal warned. "This place, it's different." "Come on," Darian scoffed. "They're just animals. Nothing's going to happen." But as they ventured deeper into the valley, Darian's actions began to catch up with him. That night, as they camped under the stars, something strange happened. The fire they had built flickered wildly, and shadows moved at the edges of their vision. Darian felt a sudden chill as the wind howled, whispering his name. From the darkness, he heard the soft sound of footsteps, as if something or someone was approaching. Then, from the shadows, a rock flew toward him, hitting him on the shoulder. Darian jumped up, startled. "Who's there?" he shouted, but no one answered. Only the wind howled through the trees. Hal looked at him, his expression serious. "The valley remembers, Darian. You threw a stone at those animals. Now it's throwing one back." Darian laughed nervously, trying to brush it off, but deep down he felt uneasy. He could sense the valley's strange power, though he didn't want to admit it. Still, he carried on with his usual antics, knocking over trees, pulling pranks on Hal, and causing small disruptions wherever he went. The following day, as they crossed a narrow bridge over a deep ravine, Darian's mischievous nature took over again. He nudged Hal as they walked, causing him to stumble dangerously close to the edge. "Careful!" Hal shouted, his face pale with fear. Darian laughed, though the thrill was short-lived. As they continued across the bridge, a sudden gust of wind caught Darian off guard, and without warning, he slipped. His feet went out from under him, and he found himself hanging off the edge, clinging to the bridge for dear life. Hal rushed to help, pulling him to safety. As Darian sat on the ground, panting, the realization finally struck him. He had nearly been pushed to his doom, just as he had pushed Hal moments earlier. The valley was reflecting his actions, returning his mischief with danger. "You see?" Hal said, breathing heavily. "Whatever we do to others here, it comes back to us." Darian sat quietly for a moment, his usual cocky demeanor gone. He understood now. The valley was not a place for tricks or cruelty. It was a place where the balance of actions and consequences was clear. Every action had its mirror. From that moment on, Darian changed his ways. As they traveled further into the valley, he treated the land and its creatures with respect. When they came across a group of travelers in need of help, he lent them food and offered assistance. And in return, the valley grew kinder. The wind became gentler, the nights more peaceful, and the dangers seemed to fade away. The valley, it seemed, rewarded goodness, just as it reflected harm. By the time they left, Darien had learned a valuable lesson, one he would carry with him for the rest of his life. As they exited the valley, Darien turned to Hal and said, "You were right. Whatever we do to others, they'll do to us. It's like the valley held up a mirror to everything we did." Hal nodded, smiling softly. "That's the way of things, Darien. In life, just like in the valley, our actions come back to us, sometimes when we least expect it." And so, Darien and Hal returned home, forever changed by their journey through the Mirror Valley. Darien no longer played tricks at others' expense, knowing that the world, like the valley, would one day reflect his actions back to him. The people of Alor continued to speak of the valley and its strange power, but they also spoke of Darien, the young man who had learned that if we do anything to others, they will do it to us. A truth that shaped not just his journey, but the lives of all who heard his story.